Stop chasing. Look, it's Marcel, aka Honey Bunny Sunny, and I'm on a mission to make you some money. Listen, today is episode 5 of Off the Charts. For those who are new to the channel, welcome. All right, we do Off the Charts twice a week, one time a week, depends on how I'm feeling, right? But 1 to 2 times a week, I'm talking about things that you need to do off the charts to be better on the charts, right? So we spend majority of our life off the charts, and we spend a couple hours a day on the charts, but we all get different results, right? We all have the same information, but we all seem to get different results. And I'm going to tell you what that comes from. All right. So it's really just about who you are, right? As you become more, everything around you expands, right? As you change and transform into that higher version of yourself, everything else will do the same. Right? We come to the mirror ourselves. The only thing that we can see in the mirror, which is also the universe, right? It's only reflecting back to you what you are, is ourselves. So it doesn't matter what skill set you pick up, what information you pick up, it's always going to reflect back to you exactly who you are. And it's nothing wrong with it not being the greatest. It's nothing wrong with it being, what we might say bad or not, not as successful or whatever, but it is important to understand that it is a reflection. It is a mirror, because that gives you your starting point, right? I want to encourage everybody watching this to take the dark journey of change and transformation, but it's not going to be easy, right? You may be in the thick of it right now. Even as you go to different levels, there are different versions of this transformation. Different chapters of your life require different time periods of this transformation, but they all have the same thing in common. It's darkness. It's lonely. It's confusing. It's slow, right? It's all these things that are not appealing. All these things that make you kind of like, man, well, what's the point? You only ever understand the point when you go through the darkness, right? So I want you to imagine a tunnel. I used to love taking these rides out in Malibu, right? Like when I was living in the valley, I would head to Malibu, and when you got on, I forget the name of the street. I think it's like, is it Canaan Road? I think it might be Canaan Road, but it takes you all the way down to the beach, at Malibu. But on that drive, it's a lot of twists and turns. It's, steep hills, winds around the mountain, but you go through these dark tunnels too, right? And, some of the tunnels are a little bit longer than others. And it's, you in there and you kind of just like, I don't know, like if a car about to be coming or what the case is. It's the same concept when you're trying to make a transformation, when you're trying to make a change. It will be dark, but here's what you do. You have to understand that everything is working together for your good. The only thing that you are responsible for is your effort, right? Your effort is the only thing that you can control, right? Everything else is up to the universe, God, whatever deity you yield your power to, you surrender to, right? It is up to that. All we can control is our efforts. What exhausts us in the midst of change and discourages us in the midst of change is us trying to take on the job of someone else, right? You ever see somebody try to do somebody else's job in something that requires a team to do their specific job? It never ends well. In basketball, when somebody is a ball hog, a lot of times that lowers the team morale. It could lead to frustration with the coach, ultimately leading to them losing. When you see, it's plenty of drama movies or sitcoms or TV shows or whatever that feature like a basketball player that decided that he wanted to do it by himself, and then he shoots and misses, right? It's like that in the real world. When you're making that transformation, you got to understand, you got to stay in your lane. You got to play your part. Give a valiant effort, like go hard, do what you feel is necessary to the capacity of your understanding, But when it goes beyond the controllables, it's not on you. And you can release that. And that will let a lot of stress off of your back during this transformation. If you're always just asking yourself, like, what needs to be done, right? Sit quietly asking what needs to be done. Those answers will be revealed to you. And all you got to do is just make sure that you actually go and do that, right? So if you're hearing like, I need to be putting in a little bit more effort, like put in a little bit more effort. I need to be reading a little bit more. I need to be meditating a little bit more. I need to be cleaning up my eating. That's a big one, right? I don't care what journey you're on. Cleaning up your eating is always going to make you receive things way clearer, right? Yes, the journey through change and transformation is confusing, but sometimes we make it a little bit more confusing than it needs to be because we're not taking care of the things that we're supposed to be taking care of, which is our health, right? Putting the effort in the work and the trade, right? But we also want to make sure that our health is in line so that we can be receiving those downloads, receiving that information, and our intuition is on point, okay? Now, I know there's a lot of people on here that only want to talk about trading from a technical perspective. If the technicals were the only thing, then we would have so many people just killing it because they're not super hard to understand. The hard part, the confusing part is the sight unseen, right? That person that's showing up to the mirror, right? We know the mirror is the world, right? Reflecting back to us who we're coming as. So when you come onto these charts, you can only bring yourself. You can only bring who it is that you are. All right. So if you're on a journey, stay on it. If you're not, it's time, right? We are going into a new season, and it's not just a new year, but we are in a totally different age where the consequences of things are heightened. When you get truth, when you get information and wisdom, like I'm sharing with you in every video, like Zay is sharing with you in every video, you got to go and implement that stuff. You got to go integrate it, right? Because if we compare it to, to the stock market, it's a breakdown, right? And if you don't do something, if it doesn't find some sort of support which you can control, then it's going to be a slippery slope downward in this particular market, right? This particular time in history that we're living in, the age of Aquarius, right? Go look that up and what that means, right? A lot of times, like, people don't want to talk about the esoteric and some of the things that are happening around us, but they all impact the market. They all impact everything under the sun. So you want to make sure that you are on point and on stride with what's taking place. Your thinking needs to be aligned with that. Your eating, your health needs to be aligned with that. If you prioritize yourself and you make yourself your number one project, there's no way that everything around you will not reflect that back. That's something that I am continuing to work on today, right? I don't come to you as a guru. I come to you as somebody who is also on the journey, right? I come to you as somebody who every day is making sure that I'm fighting to put the effort that I need to put in. I'm showing up and making these videos every day, right? When something comes to me, I write it down. I got to share it with y'all, right? And the same can happen in your life amongst your communities. Even in the Prosperity Collective, I'm starting to see a lot of people stepping up and being more involved. And I've also noticed a correlation with that. The people that are more involved in the group, in the Prosperity Collective, tend to have better results. So what does that mean? It means it's time to start, like I said, making yourself your biggest project, listening, getting clear on where it is that you're trying to go, what it is that you're trying to do, and making sure that your actions do not contradict that vision. That's all we have to ever do. We don't have to do too much. We just have to do what we need to do to get out of the way of our true self coming out, right? Our highest version making its way to this physical reality. I've talked for enough, man. It was on my heart to share that with you guys, right? Off the charts, like I said, it's who we are off the charts because that's where we spend the majority of our time. So even though I'm looking through this camera, I can't see exactly what you do every day, but it will be felt. understand that energy trumps everything. So if you're not studying, if you're not looking at the charts, if you're not working out, if you're not exercising, all of these things are going to have some sort of impact. I never want you to ever get to a point where you think that things are disconnected. There is nothing disconnected in this world, right? There is nothing that is disconnected in this world. Everything is one. Everything is on the same, I'm not going to say the same frequency, but the overarching, let's say the overarching connection, right? So maybe there's different frequencies within a network, and we're all on that network. Everything that happens in this universe is on that network, and there's different frequencies that you can get to up level, right? You can get closer and closer to your highest self, or you can get closer and closer to your lowest self. But no matter what you do, it will be felt. Even when the words that are coming out of your mouth say one thing, the energy is also preceding that, right? Let's clean it up, right? Let's start to understand exactly who it is that we say we want to be, who it is that we say that we're trying to merge with, and let's do that. Let's bring that version to trading, right? In the new year, I see multiple people making $250,000, $1 million, people buying houses. I see that for all of y'all in the Prosperity Collective. Anybody that's not in the Prosperity Collective, you have the same opportunities, right? Now, this world has been set up for a small percentage of people to do well and for the masses to fall into consumption and lower frequencies, but it doesn't mean that you can't be one of those people in the smaller percentage. Now, even though it's a smaller percentage, if we strip down the people that are in that percentage, and I'm not talking about people that had it handed to them, I'm talking about the ones that transitioned and earned it themselves, there were some things that they had in common. They realized that they had to pull themselves up. They had to take complete responsibility for their lives and go through that darkness that we call change. All right, I want to see all of y'all win. It's always love over here. Remember, invest smart, live free, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.